Welcome, my friends. God bless you. You're watching, listening to the DTFH. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, an uneventful Thanksgiving. I hope you experienced some moment of spontaneous gratitude. And if you didn't, I hope you didn't feel some kind of guilt for not feeling something that people are telling you you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to shove it out of yourself like you're constipated, like inside of you are all these gross clumps of gratitude. Isn't it the worst, the gratitude police, when the Thanksgiving police come a-knocking? Oh, this is a time to be thankful. Fuck you. Don't tell me when to be thankful. I'll be thankful when I'm thankful. You can't just spontaneously create thankfulness. This awful, tyrannical new spirituality where there are demands that you be grateful and thankful, or you're somehow being blasphemous. It's nonsense. Ridiculous. Feel the way you feel. If you feel thankful, then great. If you don't, great. You get to be you. Don't let some puffed up ayahuasca slurping, crystal wearing, fake smile having, tattoo-faced pseudo-shaman tell you to be thankful when you don't feel it. But I do hope you did feel true thanks on this Thanksgiving, because don't we have so much to be thankful for? Blah! Today on the DTFH, we have a dear friend of mine, Christina P. You know her from YMH. You know her incredible stand-up. And maybe you heard she just had a run-in with the Big C and became a fellow member of the Cancer Club. We talk about this on this episode, lots of other things too, but I'll tell you one thing I'm authentically, truly thankful for, that Christina P is one of my friends. So now, everybody, welcome to the DTFH, Christina P.
You know, I was so checked out the last 4 months from reality. Like I forgot it was election day when it happened.
Yeah,
because I was
good.
I was doing whatever bullshit ladies do.
You know
what I mean?
You were in the real world.
Yeah.
Are we rolling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were in the real, because that's the thing, you know. By the way, welcome to the show.
Oh my God, yeah, I love you.
Thanks, I love you.
You're my
too.
favorite.
You are my favorite.
No, I adore you so much.
Yeah, you guys, y'all have like built a very inspirational empire that all of us truly. It sounds sappy, but we, everyone looks at that as like, wow. Not only is it like producing like the best podcast.
Thank you, Duncan.
But it's a community, and all the people who work for you are so freaking cool.
Well, that's that. We have a no shithead policy.
The policy.
No douchebags allowed.
Yeah.
And we've been really fortunate, as we all have, with podcasting. And I mean, who fucking knew? Like 16 years ago, like sitting on Red Band's couch, that this would grow into that. And I mean, yeah, I'm so #blessed.
Yes, #blessed. It's crazy. Because I think that is sort of to me, the best thing about it is that we got into podcasting not out of some business instinct.
No.
There was no like analysis of a $1 billion industry and boy, we got to get in now. It was just like, what is this? It's fun. It's weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got lucky. And that never happens to me. Like, oh my God. You know what haunts me? I have in my emails from when I used to do a podcast with Natasha, emails from multiple people saying, do you guys accept Bitcoin donations? Because I would like to donate some Bitcoins. And I would read those and I wouldn't even respond because I'm like, I don't have time to deal with whatever the fuck that is. Fucking whatever that monopoly money is. I set up a Bitcoin wallet. I can't do that. It haunts me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so I always I've almost missed everyone, but podcasting, we caught the wave.
Agreed. I was so envious of people, like you'd watch these documentaries and they're like, yeah, man, it was the 90s in Seattle and I just started to play the guitar in this band called Nirvana. And then, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck you, dude. Like, why are you that guy? And to think that my life should not have gone this well, truly. And you know what I mean? The comedians, you look at your childhood, like, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't. It was.
Oh, right.
I was on a bad thing, and then, wow, I got really lucky.
Yeah,
like,
it's
so lucky.
That imposter syndrome, that sense of like,
God.
how the fuck does any of this make sense? None of it makes sense. But you know, I remember at the store, like when you were a comic, people would come and watch on stage.
No, stop
That's
it.
true.
Duncan, that's not true.
Deep respect.
Okay, let me
deep
tell.
respect.
Can I tell my story about you, which I love?
What?
You were a young Duncan Trussell. You were in your velvet jacket phase.
Oh, God.
Which I admired so much because I think you were the first comic I saw like, oh, he actually cares about his appearance.
Yeah.
Because all of us, the whole vibe then was just to look like shit. Everybody just looked like shit. And you're up there and you're at the Laugh Factory, which is like the McDonald's of the comedy club world. And it's fine. It is what it is. It's mostly tourists. It's on Sunset, but the lower part, whatever. And you're talking about suicide. Of all things. And not only that, I believe it was like a callback for Montreal Comedy Festival or something.
Oh, yeah.
Something really high stakes.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's an artist, like a guy who wants to do what he wants to do. And you're not like, oh, if I don't get into Montreal this year. But I think you fucking did because you're so talented.
I did. And guess what happened? Ate shit at New Faces.
Of course, that's how it goes.
Just ate shit, smoldering shit. And and what you were seeing there was actually not to. I would love that story to be true. Like, oh God, what you were seeing there was pure idiot hubris. Because what had happened is I'd gotten a writing job for the first time, and I was making more money than I'd ever made. Not understanding commissions, taxes, or anything at all.
What was the gig? Do you remember?
It was for this prank show with this British comic named Mark Wooten, I think.
Those are so big in like 05.
Yes.
Like
yes.
MTV started it or wait, right? Well, everybody was doing a fucking prank show. Yeah.
He was sort of, he had this great show in the UK where he would basically, the way the game worked is, he would come and visit you for a weekend and ruin your life. If you could make it through the weekend, you got this. You won some money. If you send him away, you lose. And he would destroy your life.
He was a disaster.
No one. You had to play along with him. So like, you know, if he was like with like one dude was like, you know, into like rugby and he goes out with his rugby friends at a bar and Wooten's just playing this like super gay dude and like they were obviously lovers in the past and his friends are like, what the fuck is this?
That's great.
Or he would like write letters. He would get them to sign letters that he wrote, quitting their job, and just ruin their life.
Oh, that's a good prank show. How did I miss this?
I don't know. He did a fake clairvoyant, Shirley Ghostman. Then he comes to the U.S. to do a prank show. His goal being to essentially like just attack Hollywood.
Yeah.
He got brutalized. Like they did not want it. I'm trying to think like some
really.
I just remember like he went to prank the dad from Growing Pains. What's that guy's name?
Oh yeah, his son is a singer. What's his name? God, that show is just. I remember growing up and having to watch that shit.
Dude, awful.
As entertainment. And
insane.
You're like, show me that smile again. I God, it's still burned into my memory.
That guy like almost kicked his ass. Alan Thicke threw him on the ground, almost kicked his ass. Like. I think he like attacked Omarosa. He like did something to Omarosa, and Omarosa like was chasing him in a car. Like they were just like "fuck you," and it was brutal. But yeah, you know, I went on stage to like audition for Montreal with the idiot confidence of someone who has the real wrong idea about what success is. Like, you got a writing job. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? So I had idiot confidence.
Yeah. Look, I couldn't tell, and it was one of those moments where you're like, oh, you can do that, like you can go up there and do something really daring and also like even physically look different than people. And then you were doing the ventriloquist it was like, who are you? You're just this cool space alien. I love conceptual comedy, and you know, I'll tell you, like,
I remember when I went to do YMH with you and Tom for the first time.
Okay. Which city? Which iteration?
It was far away
God.
from. I
Redondo.
Drove,
it was
Redondo.
It was like in our back. We lived in a guest house, like a 900 square foot guest house. Yeah,
and
God.
there was like Tom's weights were outside.
Yeah, that was a good house.
And
yeah,
it was, but still, even then, I was impressed because I'm like, whoa, look how organized they are. Like, look, you guys had already sort of set up a little like podcast studio situation. It was the embryo of what it grew into. And so now anytime I go to do your shows, I walk into it is a TV studio. Like it is a fully functioning TV studio with a like organized staff.
Yeah,
and wow.
It's crazy, dude. And it's also a dream because you've written for television, as I have. I was a writer on Chelsea Lately and in a few other shows.
Okay.
And like, you know, when you're like, oh, God, this could be so much better. Like, why does this fucking suck? Like, why is like the FCC telling me I can't say crap?
Right.
Or why do wouldn't it be great to just do something you want?
Yeah.
And that's the best part of podcasting is, you can just do what you want. And,
I know.
And you can crank it out fast.
Yeah.
And no one's going to give you notes. That's the worst part is some executive telling you what's funny or what will work better. And have you ever done like a network?
Sure. Yeah, sure. We had to, we wanted, on the Midnight Gospel, we wanted to do a gag involving the thinking man, I don't even remember what it was. But the note we got back was, okay, to like do this gag and the way you want to do, you actually have to meet with a council of artists from Paris to get permission to do it. Somehow it was the most absurd thing I'd ever heard in my life. And, that was Netflix and they're far less stringent than network shows. Like I can't even imagine Chelsea Lately, like the notes you guys were getting all the time.
I'll tell you what I always thought was really funny was Brody Stevens, who was the warm-up guy at the time. God bless him. Anyway, I would watch him every day warm up the audience because he was so bizarre and so fun. He'd be like, positive push. Yes, Chelsea is real. So you need to be real. And then he would come out with a tambourine and the drumsticks. And I was like, this is, gosh, I wish this was, it's the lamest. You can't be who you are. And that was painful for me. And podcasting was a dream because I'd come from the reality show world. Like I did Road Rules in the 90s and I was like, this is the best, dude. Like imagine a place where you could just talk like a human being.
Yeah.
And then podcasting, it was a no-brainer. I'm like, this is what I've been waiting for. It's like an extension of stand-up, but you can do it in the afternoon, and there's no drunk people unless you want to be. And
yes, and you can be drunk. You could do anything.
Whatever the fuck you want.
This is like, it's such an exciting thing to watch because, though, like, I mean, I think any of us owe something to the entertainment industry.
Oh yeah.
It stoked the fires of our ambition. You came to LA, you were surrounded by artists, not because LA had the Comedy Store, but because LA was where you would go if you wanted to get signal boosted by the machine.
Signal boosted. Man, and if that isn't accurate.
Yeah.
Gosh, and don't you love how this has completely disrupted and destroyed that gatekeeping model?
It feels good.
It's the greatest.
It feels good.
There's one fucker at the network who doesn't like you.
That's
for
right.
Whatever fucking reason. And now guess what? You're not going to get on the Tonight Show, or you're not going to get a special, or you're not going to. And it's like, well, who cares? I'll do it myself.
Oh, and that's it's like, the archetype is the bridge troll, right? Like it's in fairy tales, the bridge troll, like, give me your daughter and you may cross or whatever. And then it's just this grumpy ass bridge troll. Its entire power is based on the fact that apparently there's only one bridge.
Yeah.
Then someone builds 1,000 bridges around it. It's like, fuck you. Enjoy your shitty bridge. The View.
I know. Who is even watching? I mean, I
don't know. No one knows.
And somebody needs to tell Whoopi that she looks absolutely insane. Can you bring up a picture of Whoopi Goldberg currently?
Please.
This is, I don't know what is happening. And look, as a woman, I will image shame her or whatever the word is. She looks absolutely insane.
You know, it's not like, I think like it's when you combine the look with whatever this like mania, this insane personality that's come over her.
What?
Dude, she looks like, can you pull up H.R. Giger? Like just it's HRGEIGER.
Yeah, and this I remember. Totally, dude.
It's like she went to her.
Oh my God, you nailed it.
She's like, can you do H.R. Giger style? Like, scroll down a little bit. I mean, look, just scroll. It's H.R. Giger. Like, it's an H.R. Giger aesthetic. She belongs in some kind of machine network on it. Like, what the fuck is going on, man? And you know what? Look any way you look. It's just on top of that. It's this. Did you see the Rogan thing that they just did?
No.
Oh my God. Can you
Tell
pull
me.
up?
Oh wait, I saw a snippet on I think on Rogan's feed. He like commented on that they were.
It is the craziest shit. Just look up like the View Dragon.
Well, and they're so rich and they're so out of touch and they're.
That's the
like.
Yeah, let's look at this real quick.
I wonder if they even have Joe on The View.
I would,
or if they even want to do that.
I would. I think he would do it. It's something I'm sure he would do. This is crazy.
Basically, to this guy, Joe Rogan,
this
who
guy
believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons? He believes in dragons.
Did you triple force that?
Yes, I did. And he also thinks that dragons, like, I guess, like dinosaur-y type of animals, roamed the earth when people did.
Rogan really leaning into this one by changing his ex-bio to, quote, dragon believer. Joe Concha is a fun.
That's great.
But, like, they're so threatened by this industry in this desperate, crazy attempt to dilute it. They're like, he believes in dragons, and it's like, I mean, honestly, he probably does. I've certainly entertained the idea.
Yeah, I mean, is there proof against it? No. But I will say that, yes, it's weird that comedians are now dictating the political climate, but better comedians than musicians, because I feel like musicians have had a stronghold on this for so long.
Oh my God!
Right? Last time it was Taylor Swift, and now it's Joe Rogan. So
I mean, I think
which he's got better taste in music.
Who, Rogan?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah. I mean, look, Taylor Swift. By now, you can't you and Tom.
She's huge.
Are one of the few people. You know, Mitzi would always say, when I was a talent coordinator, because inevitably there's some problem comedian who's gotten a lot of success and they're like running amok.
Yeah.
And she would always be like, they always go crazy for a little bit, honey. And so, like, 'cause she'd seen so many iterations of, you know, accelerated success.
Yeah.
The subsequent, like, narcissism, the entourage, the self-destruction.
So gross,
Because there's no one can prepare you for that. The odds of it even happening are slim. And if it does, and so if it does happen, who do you even talk to about it? It's like it's a mental illness that doesn't even have a name, you know? It's like, what do you do? And so you go nuts. But somehow you and Tom
are immune to that.
You didn't go nuts.
I know. You know what's, thank you. Yeah, I was just talking to my friend about this last night. It's like, I think it's a choice, no, to just be able to do the job of being a comedian. And then when you're done doing the job, you turn it off and you go home and you take a shit and you change your kids' diapers and you cook dinner and your kid yells at you and tells you you're stupid and all these life things. So maybe because we have a normal life outside of this shit, it's not everything. It's not the entire. And I think when comedians get really sad is when they don't have
anything to
else.
ground themselves other than the career, other than their team.
Oh my God.
You know, and the team is just like banging the drum on the slit, just boom, faster, because they're just getting 10%, dude.
Yeah.
You know, the more you're making, they got to get you like, they have to exponentially increase your income. So they're not thinking about your sleep. They're not thinking about the fact that you're like gibbering on the phone because you've been on speed for like a week. I don't know, see things in the night. The night creature came and said I should do it. But what?
That's so true. And they don't care. They'll keep kicking you out until you die.
Well, these are so many stories of that. You know, of this like attitude of just like it's It's like a milk cow. And you're just like, just get as much milk out of that motherfucker as you can.
Oh, yeah. Like, I remember watching poor Ralphie May, you know, rest in peace, and this documentary about him when he was at the end. And it's burned in my mind because we've all performed ill. You know, you've had a fever of 103, but you're in Boca Raton at some shitbag club and you're a new headliner, so you got to take the gig. And anyway, you're shaking and sweating. And he's telling the joke, and then, like, after a punchline, the audience is laughing. He turns and he vomits into a bucket, like, kind of backstage, and then comes back out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you're like, if that isn't the best metaphor for this business, you know? I mean, I remember one time I was at the airport at LAX. I had to go to San Francisco to do Cobb's for the weekend, and I just pissed blood in the bathroom. I was like, I'm peeing blood. Well,
Holy
better get on
shit.
the plane. And my brain didn't even go, maybe you should go to the doctor first, because show business makes you think that it's so important. There's nothing more important than your fame and your celebrity.
And then you smash into the wall of reality. And we both have smashed into that wall.
Duncan, let's go there.
Let's
I'm in
go.
it. I'm so fucked right now.
I'm
so fucked.
This sanctified episode of the DTFH has been brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is all you need to create a beautiful home on the World Wide Web. I don't know if you've heard of the internet yet. It's an incredible thing, a kind of technological manifestation of the mycelial metaphysical network we already knew existed that connects all living things, but now it's been externalized into something that we call the internet. And you've got to have a home there if you want to exist in that brand new liminal space between the human subconscious and the universe. You're going to need to build a website, and Squarespace is the tool you need to instantiate your human identity, your business identity, your art identity onto the World Wide Web. We all know what it was like in the old days. Maybe some of you youngs don't realize how it was to go find someone to design a website. It was a nightmare. Go downtown, try to find somebody. Usually you get the shit kicked out of you, you get your teeth knocked out. People were pissed. They were hard to find. It was a nightmare. These were the HTML wars. Many people didn't make it, God rest their soul. But now you can do it all on your own with Squarespace, and they just up-leveled with something called design intelligence. Essentially, an AI will help you create a bespoke, beautiful, unique, customized website. No more pulling out the dictionary and trying to see if you spell glory hole right. Now it will do it for you. All the spelling, all the grammar, and even better, it will help you dial in exactly what you want your website to look like. You have to understand what this used to be like with flip phones and some dude snorting rails of dirty meth. It was horrible. You don't have to do that anymore. The World Wide Web is your oyster, and Squarespace is your oyster knife. Head to squarespace.com/Duncan. Try it out for free. Maybe you don't believe me. Just give it a shot. Take it for a twirl. Ride that robot around. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code Duncan to get 10% off your first order of a website or a domain. At checkout, again, it's squarespace.com/Duncan. Offer code Duncan to get 10% off your first order of a website or a domain. Thank you, Squarespace. First of all, God, I like, you know, when it's not just when you get the diagnosis that your whole world gets spun. It's when a dear friend gets it. And then everyone in a much smaller way smashes into this wall of like, hey, wait, you know, this is actually the world that you're living in, you know, regardless of your likes and how many people are subscribing to your podcast. By the way, please like and subscribe.
Sponsored by.
Sponsored.
Who is this? Where's your fucking liquid death, bro? What are you doing?
Krispy Kreme. I don't know. I don't have a. You know what I mean? Like you. So
yeah, it's reality. Survival. When you're just focused on survival for months and months and months and months,
it trembles through the whole network, the whole web of your community, because everyone, and it's good.
Yeah.
Because that thing that you're talking about, pissing blood, puking in a bucket. I can remember after, when I got my cancer diagnosis, I can remember saying to my doctor, okay, I know you want to do this, you want to cut my ball off, but, I've got these shows lined up.
Oh, that's how we think.
And he looked at me, he goes, you have cancer. You know what I mean? Like, hey, wake the fuck up. You will die. It will spread through your body. You want to go do the fucking laughing skull?
Hey, that's a good one. That's the alt room in Atlanta. I remember.
Marshall Childs.
Marshall Childs, yeah.
But yeah, so tell me, first of all, how are you doing now? You've gotten, you've done the radiation, you've gone through the procedures. But yeah, you're a mess.
Oh, I'm okay. First of all, I want to say, the minute you get diagnosed, your life has changed. You go from being like kind of whatever naivete or innocence is left in you is gone.
Gone.
And you, especially so young, you were in your 20s, right?
No, it was
early 30s.
Early 30s, yeah.
So to go through that, and then you're in radiation with like old dying people is such a mind fuck. But anyway, June 6th, 3:44 p.m. is when my life changed. You get that fucking, I know you're tingling because you know it. That phone call and the doctor like, hey, oh God.
The voice, right away.
And I kind of knew before because when I went for my second mammogram, when like the radiologist comes in and sits down with you.
Oh, yeah.
And then he looks like cancer.
Yep.
Because he's all bald and hairless and weird and the look on his face. And you're like, fuck, I know I have it, huh?
Fuck.
And I was like, is it like my last summer? Like, just tell me, dude. And he's like, no, you know how they minimize. It's fine. You're gonna be okay. And I was like, in my dumb comic brain too, I was like, cool, well, I got these gigs. I want to record a special pretty soon. Right. Like, let's just cut it out and go.
Right.
And I was so fucking naive. Even like, so they do a bunch of tests on you, like genetic tests once you're diagnosed, that rigmarole. It takes about 2.5 weeks to get back all these tests.
That's right.
And Tom and I were like, well, we have this trip to Italy planned.
Yeah.
But literally we were like, well, fuck it. Like, fuck it. I'm already fucked. What's 2 weeks?
Right.
And thank God we did go. But that was a lot of delusional thinking too. Like, I probably should have just gone straight into surgery and radiation.
I remember,
like, fuck it.
But when you were saying the trip to Italy, I didn't understand I thought, whatever it is, the diagnosis must be different than that you were doing that. But you know what? Hey, it worked out.
2 weeks wasn't going to kill me. I had, yeah.
I mean, not the most fun 2 weeks,
No.
knowing with that like sort of ominous unknown looming there.
Yeah. But I have to say, so that was my first phone call was from my doctor. The second phone call was to you and to Aaron. So, God, I'm going to cry even. Like, God bless you and your wife for fucking, like, on our talk was like I think about a lot of what you said to me that day because it helped me through months and like, thank God you told me like, hey dude, first thing you're like, welcome to the cancer club. And I was like, you're like, it's not a great club to belong to, but unfortunately not very exclusive these days either. And then you're like, plan to take a year down. And I didn't believe that. I was like, no way. I fucking piss blood and get on planes, bro. What are you talking about?
I know.
I do what the boys do. Like, I don't give a fuck. I filmed a special 8 months pregnant in Vegas. Like, I'm crazy. So but you said a lot of good stuff to me, and thank you so much because the whole time I was like, okay, well, if Duncan's okay, I can be okay.
I'm so glad I could help. When I got
tell me about your because now
just where that year came from, and I had a similar experience, except I got a call from my agent. He's like, Tom Green wants to talk to you. I don't know Tom Green other than I loved him. I loved his show, and then so I'm like, oh, of course, and just that's this was the beginning of in all that darkness, there's so much light that appears around you. Like you realize how held you are.
Yeah.
Even people who you don't even know just want to help. He was like, well, you're gonna be on the bench for about a year. And I thought the same thing, like, shut the fuck up, Tom. I'll be fine. It's not a year. And, he was explaining to me, like, he told me all about what was in the future, not in a grim way, just like letting me know, here's what's up.
What did he tell you? He did chemo too, yeah?
He actually got his lymph nodes removed.
Yeah.
Like because he had
All of
testicular.
them?
I don't know if he got all of them removed, but it's a brutal surgery. They they have to pull, I think, your intestines out because it's back here. But he was just like, look, you're gonna have to get tests for a long time. It's gonna be scary. He was just being very sweet but very honest, and I really appreciated that because it helped me like snap out of all of the denial that goes along with the diagnosis.
So much denial.
So much.
I was in Italy, sipping on fucking what's that, Steve? The orange drink, whatever. Yeah, I was in Italy.
Fago?
Did I say Italy?
You went to the.
I love the ice cream.
You went to the
They're
Catherine
so
and the
fun.
Juggalos.
They're the best. Yeah, I fucking love those guys. Yeah, I was in such denial, eating pizza, because your brain cannot. You can, like, I remember you told me too. Thank God, you're like, hey, this is a lot of a mental game. Like, it's going to be a lot of you not freaking out.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, thank God. It's like, there should, you know what there should just be, Duncan, is like a guide.
Yeah.
Like, so you got diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
Here's what's up. Like, you're going to freak. You're going to be in denial.
Yeah.
You're going to panic. You're going to think your life is over. You're not even going to be able to read your diagnosis like, I couldn't even get into what I had really for a while because I was like, I don't want to know. Just treat me. But then you have to educate yourself because now the system is such that they give you choices.
Oh, those are fun. You mean the Vegas style bets? It's like Vegas. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, there's a 97% chance that there will be no return with this. Now with the other one, it might be there's a 96% chance that it won't return. But if you do this one, there is a 4% chance that the treatment itself could cause a return. You're like, it's the worst slot machine on earth.
Oh, I know, and I'm not educated medically. Why are you giving me the choice?
Right.
Just tell me how not to die. And I eventually had to tell them, like, look, I know you new agey. I'm from a different generation, dude. I'm from like the era of male dentists with big hands, just tearing your teeth out and telling. I'm into white guys in suits telling me what to do.
Yes.
Just fucking tell me what to do, bro.
Yeah.
But I went to this lovely surgeon. It's all these female doctors. They specialize in breast stuff. And
Oh, wow.
I got really lucky. I have great people. But I remember being like, don't ask me what the fuck I want. I don't know. I don't want to
Especially in that state of consciousness. It's like how, like, you're still, you're in the first year. So the first
I'm a
year,
mess.
you're in a dream state still. It's a dream state.
Yeah.
It's like some kind of strange dream. But you got through the radiation.
I got through radiation.
Jesus fucking
Tell me
Christ.
about that. So just so people know, I feel like we should set up what we've been through. I feel like people need to know, like, you and I had surgeries.
Yeah, I had to get my ball chopped off.
Got your nut chopped off. And then, so I had a lumpectomy and then I had a double mastectomy because they found a lot more cancer in my tit than they had anticipated. So I had both tits chopped off. They put implants in.
Oh, fuck.
And then, I had to have a corrective surgery because my right tit got infected. So 3 surgeries in 6 weeks.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I had like 2 major ones. The first one was like 8 hours. The second one, 10 hours. Like, it was crazy. It was gnarly. But here's the funny part is I'm such like kind of good that I'm a psycho comedian. Because they're like, yeah, you came out of a 10-hour surgery just popping, just talking to people, cracking jokes.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? Great.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then radiation. So I did 7 weeks of radiation.
Oh.
It's so bad.
I could barely get through a month.
Tell me. So what did you do?
So
surgery and then radiation.
And because I've thankfully come out of that dream state. I don't know if you ever really come out of it all the way, but I can't. It's a foggy memory because like my mom's dying of breast cancer while I'm going to get
Stop.
radiation.
That's too much.
Yeah,
Stop.
yeah, just cancer
Just
all around.
fucking
crash course in mortality, man. And like,
No,
but
it's terrible.
what happened to me over that month is I just got real sick from the radiation, so I had to. I would like just be like going. I would go in and get the radiation. By that evening, I'd start feeling nauseated.
Really?
Yeah, and they gave me some rotten drug. By the way, I didn't have good insurance, so it's not like they're like I got lucky because they were sending me to a really advanced radiation place. But I was sort of, I should have looked more into like how to deal with nausea and stuff. But this shit they give you for it, or that they were giving me, was nasty. I was so excited about it, this wonderful pill bottle. I thought it'd be like Xanax or something. No. It just puts you to sleep, but it's not a good sleep, because that's how you deal with it, is just sleep for a month.
Yeah.
Oh, and so then I would just like get these like, the only thing I could eat where I wouldn't want to throw up was like pancakes.
Yeah.
And it was gross, man. It was just, and then of course, the experience of driving.
Stop.
I can remember being late for my radiation. Some dude cuts me off and that gives me a middle finger.
You're like, I have cancer.
I'm dying, you fuck. Like, but then also I remember that it was this really mystical moment I had where I'm just sitting in my car in traffic in LA. There's like the Goodyear blimp floating by and all of LA. And I just realized, like, if I die, this just keeps going.
All of it.
And that was a really cool, somehow it was really liberating. It was like
all of it, babe. And no matter how rich and famous you are, they'll forget about you in like a minute.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
The kids, really all that matters is your family.
And see, that's
it.
To me, it's like, yeah, my mom had cancer. I was younger, but holy fuck. To get that diagnosis as a parent.
That was the worst, yeah. That wrecked me, to think that I won't. And still, I deal with that anxiety of like, I can't die before these fuckers are out of my house. That is my reason to live, is to take care of my children.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's really it. Comedy's amazing. Being here with you is amazing, but it really does take a back seat when you're just surviving.
Yeah.
I mean, I just finished radiation 2 weeks ago, so I'm still like, oh, I just go out into the world now. Like, I've been fighting for my life for like 5 months, and then they're like, okay, bye, have fun, and you're like, what? Like,
get back out there, kid.
Like, I can't leave I do leave my house, but I'm like, who am I now? Because I'm not who I was before this. I've seen too much. I know too much.
Yeah.
So I have to rebuild this identity. Like, who the fuck am I?
That's why I did, when I said welcome to Cancer Club, I really actually meant it in more than a flippant way, because Cancer Club, the rules of
we
cancer.
really should start a Cancer Club.
Well, there is one. I'm going to, you have to get through the radiation first. We fight every week.
Do you punch each other in your surgical scars? You have to punch in the place that you've lost.
It's great because they think it's going to hurt, but there's no ball there. Yeah. Cancer Club.
Yeah.
In Cancer Club, the people in Cancer Club have, I mean, I don't want to call it a secret society, but in a secret society, you're given some form of initiation, and some transmission happens, a mystical teaching that perpetually separates you from everyone else.
Yeah.
And if I can't think of a more mystical teaching than in the midst of your life, being reminded of impermanence in such an incredible way. And it instantaneously creates a divide, because there's all the people, they know they're going to die, but they don't think it's tomorrow. And so they live like that.
Oh, yeah.
I call them temporal trust fund kids. Bunch of years in the bank, acting like assholes. Yeah. And they don't get it. And that's fine. There's no judgment. I hope they never get it. Good.
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know. But the moment you get the taste of reality,
yeah,
you are reborn. You're actually, and many people say you can't really experience life until you fully understand death. that you will eventually die.
Yeah.
And so that's Cancer Club.
In a nutshell, yes, absolutely. You will die. And there's an expiration date on you. And you just don't know when it is. But when you enter the Cancer Club, you get a taste of like, oh, your date might be here or there.
Yeah.
And like, let's hope that what we do to you is going to extend your expiration date.
That's right.
And you know what's even, well, there's a few surreal things. There's one of like, right before I had this diagnosis, I had all my blood work done. I had a physical. And they're like, wow, your cholesterol's down. You're in great shape. You know what I mean? I was like fucking weightlifting and doing Pilates.
Yeah.
Like I was on the Ozempis. Like I was foxy and felt great.
Yeah.
And that's when it comes out of the blue where you're like, wait, but I feel fine. That's, I think, really confusing is you're like, yeah, but I don't feel fucked up. I don't look fucked up. What do you mean? There's like this thing in me that's killing me if I don't. And they're like, they grab you and they just throw you into this. And now you're fighting for your life. And you're like, but yesterday I was fucking, what are we going to have for dinner? And, you know, let's go to Italy. I was not going to, you know, you're so innocent. And then you're laying in radiation. And God bless these people that work in the darkest corners of humanity because it's a temperament that you have to be able to like deal with all this grief and sadness. But I just remember like you lay on the table and then, you know, you put your fucking arms up and then they position you and you've got stickers for weeks. You're trying to hide from the kids and then they mark you with an X and then, you know, and then take a breath in and hold it. And the woman says it over and over. Take your breath in. Now let it go.
Yeah.
Take a breath in and hold it. You have to hold it so that it doesn't radiate your chest wall.
Yeah.
And you hear that in your sleep, you know?
Yep.
And you're fucking laying there getting radiated. They leave the room. They're out.
Out. Out.
The door is this thick. They shut the door.
Yeah.
And you're just laying there hearing the machines clicking and going around you.
Oh,
and
that sound. I forgot the sound.
Oh, the sound.
Oh, God. That fucking sound of the machine. I forgot. You know what? I'm getting nauseated. It's making me sick thinking about it.
Is.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Take a breath in and hold it. Now let it go.
Yeah.
Now breathe. Oh my God. I heard it. And I love the girl that did that, by the way. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
But like, and the best part too is because it's Texas, the music selection was very eclectic. Like most of the time it was John Cougar Mellencamp. So it's so funny to, you know what I mean? You're like,
dude,
hurts so good.
They don't think about the playlist at all. They just fucking throw some bullshit up. You're getting radiated. Fucking Hurts So Good is on. And that's the
best part.
Okay. I'm being mocked by God right now.
It doesn't get any darker than John Cougar Mellencamp as you're getting your tit radiated and you're like, I gotta just.
Actually, it does. When I went, you know, I went with Erin to get, because like, she thought she had a, something going on and I was getting checked. And for me, you know, like, you know, the breast cancer thing is just like, because it took my mom, it's just like, you know, you.
God.
But I remember we're sitting there, they're doing the scan. I swear to God, they are playing Fame. I'm gonna live forever. It's like, fuck you. I got so mad. Erin says I was boiling with rage because it's like, you can't play fucking Fame when you're scanning for tumors.
Remember. You're like, I'm gonna live forever. No, I know.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. And that is
God.
That is initially a really hard pill to swallow, but you know, you get a superpower. Like it gives you a real superpower. And I love that it shows up. The archetype shows up in like comic books. Bitten by the radioactive spider.
Right.
So there's this superpower that you get, which is knowing you're going to die. That is a superpower because if you don't, and I don't know how you get there without like, if you're brilliant or wise or something, you even people you know die, you could still entertain the notion that maybe you're an immortal and you just forgot or something. But when you are taught that, I'm telling you, like after this year, you know, you can really, you'll find like you can get in the moment. Like you get in the moment. You appreciate your kids.
Yeah.
You're not taking them for granted in the way it could be possible.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, or anyone around you, because you understand, like, oh, we're in an airplane terminal, and nobody knows when their flight's coming.
No.
And you know what I mean? We build houses and careers, and we've all, we like to pretend that we're not all getting in different flights eventually, but that's the reality of realities. And I think there's something like, it's so, wherever there's immense darkness, there's got to be the antithesis simultaneously, which is a way to connect with reality that isn't. Cancer Club, it sounds depressing and dismal.
It's the best.
Yet when you meet the people in the Cancer Club, the ones who've come to terms with it, they glow. They have a light. They are.
It's true.
Especially the ones who are dying.
Oh, I don't even. I know. That's the fucked part, Duncan, is you meet people in treatment and you're like, and I think about like the day, like you have to ring you get to ring your bell when you're done with treatment. And I felt almost like I did feel a survivor's guilt, because here I am. I'm like in my 40s. I'm too early. You and I were both too early to get into Cancer Club. And there are women in the green room, in the waiting room, that aren't going to make it, and that part is really crazy, to think that there's people that aren't going to, I don't know if they're going to ring their bells,
Yeah.
And you know them, like you sit in these waiting rooms and you chat with women, and nobody wants to talk about cancer unless you've had it. And then you're like, what you got? What you do? How much time did you want to know the stats. And yeah, I mean, right now, because I'm still so fresh, I enjoy really, really little things. Like we have a cat, and every morning I grab the cat and he sits, I think intentionally, on my left breast, which had the big tumor in it. And it's like they know. And he just sits on me and he purrs, and I just have a love affair with this cat. It's so healing. And it's like the best part of my day is bonding with this animal. And then, I'm into gardening now. Like I'm growing vegetables hydroponically. Because that's what they said for any women listening, that 1 in 6 women are going to have breast cancer. It's not even 1 in 8. And my oncologist was telling me, because of the environmental factors, plastics, and the food is no good. So if you can grow it, there's things you can grow in your fucking kitchen. Hydroponic stand.
Did you get one of those cool things? You got one of those cool things?
Just put it together last night, man.
Oh my God, that that thing looks awesome. You're talking about that?
I'll get you one.
It's like an app that like you control it and it just grows.
Yeah, and it's AI.
Your kid's gonna destroy it.
Yeah, they will, but I don't give a fuck. I'll beat them. No, they fucking. I don't know. Well, mine are a little older than yours, so if you put the fear of God in them, and they won't touch it.
Yeah, I think I don't know when we could ever do that, because if the kids don't destroy it, the dogs will piss on it. Like you'd have to build a wall around it.
Build a wall.
So
yeah,
you have So you have experienced like 2 very rare things, if you think about it. Like one of them rare in a good way, which is like you ended up like top of the charts, the biggest podcast ever, massive, all the stuff. You got all this stuff. And then simultaneously, you got the like truth of truths. And what a strange riddle to get bundled up together.
I know.
Young kids accelerating like business, and also a reminder that you're mortal.
It's God punished me.
Is that what you think?
No, I don't think that. Here's what I really think, and it's going to sound crazy, but I've had like my whole life, I've had freakishly weird luck. So I've my whole childhood, my whole life, I've had like this weird thing where something awful happens to me and then something fucking crazy amazing happens. So I just see this as like a karmic balance for some reason that I don't know, dude. I don't know why, but I've always had freakishly bad luck and then freakishly good luck.
Yeah.
This is my path.
But wouldn't you say, and I'm not trying,
Always.
I'm not going to try to put lipstick on the fish here, and it's fucking bullshit when people try to do that. But if you are in Cancer Club, you are allowed to like put lipstick on the fish if it's honest. And like, wouldn't you say that actually, all things being said, you have had freakishly good luck in the sense that what you were diagnosed with, they treated. What you were diagnosed with 10 years ago.
Oh, it's dead.
Dead. And
well,
that, so you,
that's true. This is freakishly good bad luck.
It's good. It's
on the spectrum of I got out of it alive.
Right.
I'm fucking, and not only that, the cancer that I did have is like rare, like 1% of the population.
Elite.
I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. Like, not, it was just, that's just it. Freakishly freakish.
Are there any theories as to why, other than contaminants in the environment or something?
Yes. So mine was hormonal. And so I believe, and it's somewhat confirmed by my my oncologist, that it was linked to IVF. I do think so. I think I was one of those people, because the timeline of how long it was in my body and the IVF when I did that. And then I was on like progesterone and hormones and stuff to manage perimenopause. And my doctor was like, that was like a buffet.
Fuck.
For your tumor. And I was like, fuck, dude, I didn't even know. And I had mammograms. It's not like I was ignoring them. It's that the type that I had, it was flat. It was a sheet. And so it didn't show up on MRI. It didn't show up in fucking mammograms. Only little tiny salt crystals showed up. And it had been cooking for 5 years by the time they found it. And it was 17 centimeters long.
Fuck.
And thank God I had huge tits. I had like fucking massive like black lady bus driver tits, and it didn't penetrate my chest. It was like gonna if I had waited another year.
Saved by your tits.
By massive tits.
Wow.
Massive fucking tits.
Because that's how that's the path, the way it metastasizes, the way it would spread through your body is it has to get into the chest cavity.
Chest wall, yeah.
And so you were, wow.
I know, and they took out my lymph nodes just to like make sure like I'm clean. I was clean. But yeah, I had some freakish, weird type that doesn't show up on.
Oh my God.
I know. And I was like, just cut my tits off, dude. Like,
didn't you tell me you had an intuition or something?
Yeah, I did. So for a couple of years, I would take my bra off and it would hurt where the tumor was. And I was like, oh, this fucking hurt. Maybe it's just because I have big tits. Maybe it's hormonal.
Yeah.
And the doctors will like, you know how you're like, hey, I got sick from radiation. They'll tell you up and down, like, you won't get sick from radiation.
Hey, that's what they did to me. Yeah.
They gaslight everything you tell them. So I just was like, I kind of hurt. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. But I also had this weird thing where I would jokingly say to my doctors, like, I'm dying of cancer right now, right? Like somewhere in my body, like I'm dying of cancer, right? But I don't know if that's just me being a morose comedian. But the last few years, I'm like, I think I'm dying of cancer somewhere. And then, yeah.
No.
Do you think I knew? I don't know. I might just be an asshole, right?
I think you knew.
Fuck.
I think you knew. I think it's like,
Fuck.
I can remember at one point having this weird dream. Yeah, this like nurse in my dream said, you're sick. You're real sick. And like, it was before my balls started swelling up and stuff. And I went into denial with that. It's just like, this can't be cancer. I remember like having to loosen my belt on planes because my ball was just hurting so much. I got real sleepy all the time. So like, I think the more in tune you are with your body, the more you get these little signals of like something's amiss here. And the less in tune you are, then it starts showing up in dreams. It's trying to tell you, take care of business, not to freak out the hypochondriacs out there. Like, this is the nightmare thing to hear if you're a hypochondriac. Yeah. Because all they do is get signals from their body. This is a different thing altogether. Yeah. You have to trust. Sometimes you do need to go to the doctor and don't put it off. Like, it's so important to do that. it's never but sometimes like you put stuff off, and as it turns out, nothing was wrong.
Thankfully. So my oncologist, I asked her, I'm like, so what? You just wait until you're stage 2 and it shows up in your blood work? Like that. There's no way to really detect it until it's in there. It's doing its thing. And she goes, well, most of the cancers that I see are incidental, meaning, God, I have this weird pain in my back. I should go get a CT scan.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yeah, your vertebrae's messed up. Oh, and what's that thing next to it? Oh, it's a tumor. You have cancer. So most people find out because something else is presenting.
Right.
So she said to me, she's like, look, if you be a hypochondriac, if you feel like, oh, I have a pain in my esophagus, go get a CT scan or get the scan of it and let your doctor call you crazy and this and that. She's like, just fucking do it. You could have esophageal cancer and that's how they find it. But don't go get the full body scan. I hear that's a nightmare. It'll just ding up with scar tissue, like.
Yeah, I mean, there is some, there's a lot. I've heard there's critiques of that because, like, there, and this is woo-woo. Listen, definitely, like, God, don't put it off.
No,
but
just do it.
But there, sometimes, I mean, this is what's crazy about cancer is there are cases, what's it called? Spontaneous remission. You ever heard of this?
No.
It's so bizarre. Someone goes in, and they're starting to figure it out now. But so there's cases where someone has like late stage cancer, they're going to fucking die. And they go to the doctor and it's gone. And these people are studied, obviously, because it's like, this is a cure for cancer. But one of the theories is that, cancer tricks your immune system into thinking it's like, it blends in, you know? It's communist.
It is a commie.
It gets in there. It starts spreading its poison.
Yeah.
And so
come to this meeting.
The moment your immune system like discovers it, MAGA, then
you got it.
I'm joking.
America.
America. But the moment your immune system finds it, it wipes it out. And that's all these new like special like gene treatments for cancers. They tell your immune system this is not a friend, and then it takes care of the rest. That's the future of cancer treatment is not to like irradiate yourself or chemotherapy, but to get yourself to like your immune system, like just tell it that thing's bad.
Yeah. Do you think there's a cure locked away somewhere?
No.
And they're like, no.
I find that to be such horse shit. Yeah. The idea being that the medical establishment is that connected that like someone's like, guys, it's actually orange juice mixed with eggs and some watermelon mush. Tell no one. We'll lose so much money. I don't think it's that. I think because if anyone found the cure for cancer, it's not like they would make so much money off of that. Like it's a cash cow.
I know.
It might, and most oncologists I've met and most people like you're talking about that you run into in that liminal bardo space of healing are like varying degrees of angels because they are in the cancer club. They have day to day experienced reality. And there a lot, there's saints out there. Like actual saints that you run into there. And they're not going to be like, no, don't cure this disease because then we won't make money. I hate that theory. It's such horseshit.
I hope I hope it is bullshit because there's so much suffering. And I'm just so grateful too I didn't have to do chemotherapy because that was my biggest fear when I got the diagnosis. You're like, dude, I don't want to do chemo. That looks terrible.
I'm so glad you didn't have to do that.
Fuck. Because
Fuck that. It's just firebombing your body. It's so, I actually told, when I was like looking at those statistics and I went through that thing of just get it out of my fucking body. I don't even care what you have to do. Pull my fucking skeleton out and fucking boil it if that will help. But I remember telling my doctor, just give me chemo. Just fucking do it. I just get fucking chemo. He's like, I'm not giving you chemo. Like, it'll hurt your lungs. Like, no, you don't have to do that, man. He was right, thank God. From all decide, thank you. Yeah. But the other thing though, about what you've been through, and not to like, I don't want to put too much on you here, because you're still in year one. But you're going to help so many people now because once you're on the other, you'll never be fully on the other side. I mean, maybe you will. I don't know.
You seem like you are.
I am, but like there's a lot of words that get used too much these days.
Yeah.
Grief, trauma,
processing.
But these are all applicable to Cancer Club. But when you get the diagnosis, you have to grieve you will grieve. It's a grief because you have to let go of that old self that was the Fool tarot card is the pre-Cancer Club.
And I liked myself. I'd done a lot of work on that person. I mean, I've been in therapy for like 15 years. I dug myself out of trenches, bro. So I was like, I was pretty cool. I thought I had it together.
Can you pull up the Fool Tarot right away just so we could just show this is the
Can I pee first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I want to focus and I have to pish. I drank water and coffee.
This episode of the DTFH has been brought to you by ExpressVPN. My loves, don't you hate it? Public restrooms, you go in, sit on the toilet, you realize it's one of those doors that doesn't lock. This to me is like as close as you can get to hell. I imagine that's what hell is like, just having to use the bathroom for eternity in a stall where people keep opening it up and going, oh, you both have to look at each other with that, ah! It's horrible. It's a horrible moment. It scars you. It actually leaves scars on your brain, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson. It actually withers your brain. Going online without a VPN is exactly the same thing. You go online without a VPN, what are you doing? You might as well just strip down and dive into a porta potty at Coachella. It's a parasitic wasteland of secret spider codes. I don't know what they are, but they get you. They track you. They connect little things to you, and they follow you all over the freaking internet. You really want that? You've got to use a VPN. Make it a practice. Make it a habit. As above, so below. Maybe if you start using a VPN, you'll remember to draw the circle of protection before you try to channel Enochian entities. Wouldn't want to do that either without a nice... I'll have to talk to Jason about that, but you need a circle. I know that. ExpressVPN hides your IP address, making it extremely difficult for third parties to track your online activity. Easy to use, works on all devices, rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET, The Verge, and the DTFH. I'll tell you what I really love about it. It's easy. That's what I love about it. I don't want to have to spend a lot of time dealing with, like imagine a complex condom. You wouldn't want that. Some kind of like puzzle box inside was the condom. No one would sell those. Similarly, there's some VPNs out there that are incredibly complex, difficult to install, and a lot of times they don't work. ExpressVPN, you just hit a button and bam, protection, IP protected. And if you're in Texas, it opens up a whole new realm of media for you. Right now, you can take advantage of ExpressVPN's Black Friday Cyber Monday offer to get the absolute best VPN deal you'll find all year. Use my special link, expressvpn.com/Duncan, to get 4 extra months with a 12-month plan or 6 extra months with a 24-month plan. Totally free! That's expressvpn.com/Duncan to get an extra 4 or even 6 months of ExpressVPN for free. Thank you, ExpressVPN. Can you screenshot that full right? That's
that
all
was
of us.
me.
That's
that was June
fucking all of
5th,
us.
2024.
It's me and my stupid velvet jacket going to Montreal.
Yeah. That's me. This is me. June 6th, 3:40 p.m.
Yeah, I didn't remember the exact date, but this is definitely me right before going to the doctor, and I'd already planned. I'm like, dude, you're a hypochondriac. After this, to reward yourself, you're going to get Hue light bulbs that change colors.
Sweet. Nice.
But that's it. That's the embodiment.
Yep.
And there's something very innocent about it. There's something very sweet about it. Looking up at the sky, got your sweet little dog, your cool fucking outfit, the sun.
Sun's on your back.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. Life is sweet. Everything's great. And off the cliff you go.
There's the cliff. And the mountains are behind it. Yeah, and you're fucked.
Your
You fall down.
little knapsack full of your tricks in your knapsack. You got all the little things you need. And this, to me, well, this is the zero. This is the beginning of the major arcana story in tarot. This is all of us. This is the initiate. And so, yeah, this is the situation of so many people. And you have gone off that cliff. And now you're picking yourself up, which leads to the... Will you pull up the Magician Tarot, the next one?
Well, I spent time with death. So that's funny that 0 is the Fool. I hadn't put that together.
Not even alive yet. Not even a thing. Just... And then the next one is the Magician, which is the Fool. You know, this is you could look at it as like an evolution, a charting of like what, like spiritual growth, or however you want to put it. But scroll down, you've got now this is the infinity sign, all the different, all the different symbols in the tarot, these are on the table. So this is actually, now that you have experienced catastrophe, you can now begin to, as a human, you're a human now. You can actually start like finding real balance, because how can you find real balance when you're falling off a cliff?
No, and I think you're right. There's the Fool, and then now putting it back together to make sense. And also, like, I can't live the way I lived before. It's not going to happen.
You can't.
You literally can't. Your body won't permit it, and your emotions won't permit it. I cannot be as cruel to myself physically as I was.
You were being cruel to yourself.
Meaning, I'm living my life. Okay, it's Friday. I'm going to fly to Denver. I'm going to wake up at 4:30 a.m., sneak out of the house, don't wake the kids up. I'm going to get on a plane. I'm going to fly to Denver. I'm going to do 2 shows that night. I'm going to sleep during the day tomorrow. I'll be fine. It's fine. I just have a little wine the night before. It's fine. I'll just eat some chips in the hotel.
Yeah.
The next morning, I'm going to wake up, and then do 2 more shows. And then I'm going to fly home, and then I'm going to jump right back into motherhood. And then it's too much.
You're making me feel bad. I actually am doing that now. But it was a different, actually, testicular cancer. If you're going to get cancer, that's a great one. If you have to pick cancers at a cancer buffet, pick testicular cancer, because it's a very treatable cancer. I mean, you truly, you, and maybe one day you could do that every once in a while, but that now it's all about, and that this is the other, this is the other sort of silver lining, is like, and it's interesting to me because I feel like the whole fucking planet with COVID got this bizarre kind of summer break, this sort of everything shut down, and they got a sense of real, and they got a sense of, and you now not only should do that, you kind of have to do that.
Have to do it.
And that's a lot of people, they don't get that.
No.
Until they're old and they retire and they're all fucked up on sedatives and stuff. Now you are in this kind of in Tibetan Buddhism and lots of forms of Buddhism, these Tibetan monks, they'll go up into the mountains, into a cave for years.
That's what I want to do.
You're doing it.
I know, but I feel like I need to really fucking think about what's happened to me. I wish I had more words to put to things, but it's so murky and jumbled. And I would like to go sit in a cave for a year and just make sense of everything. But I have this life that I enjoy and I will tend to. And yeah, what was I going to say though? Fuck. My brain is still radiated.
Well, at least you have an excuse. I don't remember shit at all. But what it is, this is the thing,
yeah, it's a lot.
The symbols, the whole cave bullshit, or the monastery, or the...
That's what I want to do. I want to go to an ashram.
You're in it.
And just fucking meditate all day.
You're in the... No, I think that there's that West... when you've left an entire paradigm, entire
my life is done.
You've seen the set dressing.
Yeah.
You're the Truman Show. You've walked off set.
Yeah.
You're off the grid now.
Yeah.
And you don't need to go up into the mountains to do that. You just have to keep, remembering. This is like the Ram Dass Foundation. It's love, serve, remember. Everybody, one take is remember God, but I read it's remember you're gonna die.
Yeah, I do too. And I was always very existential before this. I've always loved reading existentialism and darkness and stuff. I was a goth girl.
Yeah.
So this to me was all right, I've been preparing for this my whole life. My first surgery, they were like, you can go down to any song you want. And I was like, great, Bauhaus, put it on, let's go. Did. They put me under to Bela Lugosi's Dead. And I was like, fuck it. We're just going to go. I'm dead.
Oh my God. You are,
what?
You know what? You're now officially the coolest person I know on earth.
No.
That's
so dark.
So cool.
Really?
Are you fucking kidding? I love that song. And I will only play it for myself on special occasions because the buildup is too much. I have to be in just the right mood. Oh my God. But isn't this what's beautiful about goth? Is yes, it's depressing, but you know what? It's beautiful.
It prepared me for the darkness.
Yeah.
The dark side that is in all of us. And I think that's the other part of this is dude, there is so much suffering and there is so much darkness in life. And how do you reconcile that? How do you fucking walk around knowing that there are people right now dying of this and that and the other?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's adorable 5-year-olds skipping right now.
Oh, yeah.
There's a fucking, flowers are blooming. It's the dichotomy of that. And my brain right now I can't wrap my head around it because I've been through too much suffering around other people. I'm saying talking to them and it's how do I don't know. It's like going. Have you ever gone to a war zone to do stand up ever the USO?
No.
Oh, yeah. It's when I came back from I did Afghanistan a million years ago, and when I came back, I felt the same way. Similarly, where you're okay, I've seen the atrocities. I haven't seen the shit that the soldiers see, but I saw their faces. One time I did shows with the men that had just come back from patrolling for 2 weeks, and they were sitting on their rucksacks, just their eyes were down and they were dazed. And here I am being hey guys, and that kind of stuff, and seeing kids who had been blown up by IEDs. You visit people in hospitals, and to see that suffering and to it took me a while to come back to civilian life because on some level, I don't understand fully being in war, obviously, but I kind of understood it because I would come back in the grocery store and now you're wait, I'm supposed to care about this now? I'm supposed to
That's right.
buy stuff and just go on?
Well, it's very synthetic, isn't it? It's you sort of, you do get a glimpse of consumerism, the illusion of immortality that is you have to keep that up if you're going to get people to buy stupid shit.
Yeah.
If there was a global recognition of mortality, I don't know how many people are going to be out there excited for the new iPhone.
And you want to know something ironic? I'm not going to shit on it because the first thing that happened actually when I got this was I started to really appreciate material things. Weirdly, because I've always poo-pooed them because my parents were communists. Not they weren't communists, but they were raised in communism. So my whole upbringing was don't be materialistic.
Right.
Don't think about this shit. This is temporary.
Right.
Just deal with this. So the opposite happened to me, where I was I think I like Prada. I think I'm just gonna buy a bunch of shit, and I just bought a bunch of shit online.
Yeah.
And people are like, "You're dressing really well." I'm like, "Well, yeah, I just fucking shopped online for the last 5 months." But I enjoy driving my car. I'm like, that's a good car. And before I would feel guilty or weird, and now I'm like, no, I'm just going to enjoy this
That's
thing.
right.
This is fine.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Direct contact, man. It's it peels away this this callous.
Yeah.
And for better or for worse. Because it's, for me, it's Oh my God. Well, like, I just said I wouldn't do this. I guess I'll do it. My boy said to me, Dad, you know, if you died, I'd be fine. He goes, now if I died, I wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
And like, I knew what was happening there because like, they're both, you know, when your kids start encountering like the reality of death, they want to shield themselves. They want to lose their parents. It's a nightmare. Remember when you realized your parents would die? How fucked up that was?
Yeah.
So, and I, you know, in that moment, I'm like, oh man.
Feels
like,
good, right?
Oh, it felt so good.
All the sacrifice that you've been, you know, all those road weekends.
Oh, he was in the. I immediately carried him out to the learning shed. But in that moment, you know, when you've experienced your own mortality and you know that you will die and you've seen your parents die, and you know that like eventually he will live in a world minus you.
Oof.
You know, and you, which you have had are no doubt still grappling with, and but so the other thing aside from like it allowing you to like actually be a hedonist in a way that you can't be, also your heart is going to get broken.
I know.
All the time, because you actually understand this. Like, how do they put it? Well, it's almost unbearable.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
It's bearable, but almost unbearable, the love. Almost unbearable, the sort of incredible, for lack of a better word, like romance of existence that you must inevitably say goodbye to the physical form.
Oh, my God.
Oh, fuck.
Dude. Well, because it is more fucked for the cancer clubbers because now my pace of life is so slow. Whereas before I was always hurrying. Gotta go on this plane. Gotta go to the plane. And now
gotta move.
Now I do one thing a day.
So great.
And I'm really, I'm enamored of my life. I'm enamored of my children. I lay in a hammock every day.
Well, you can't. You're human now.
Yes, and my relationships are way deeper and I'm way more there for my friendships and relationships.
Oh my God! When Aaron and I were at your house, I remember sitting there. It was you. I'm telling you, like you are such style. Like it's so cool, and I'm just sitting there, like. I mean, I didn't want to voice it because what a miserable thing to voice at a dinner party. But I'm looking at you thinking, you can't leave us.
Oh.
You know, and that's
the pain of it all.
Yeah. You must face that reality. And you have to like just to me, that is not a bad thing to feel about the people that you love. And to shield yourself from that, I think, is to like essentially like put like gardening gloves over your heart. Why would you want to do that? You have to like, you know, live in that world as much as you can. I don't want to live in it.
It's so hard. It's so hard because especially if you grew up with shit parents that you were constantly betrayed by your parents, right? Most of us are. We grew up in a certain generation. It just fucking is.
Yes.
It just gets harder with age. But then the Cancer Club breaks you right open, wide open.
Yeah.
And I almost to the point where, like, the thought of doing stand up now even it's so intense to be seen like this. Even at first, I was like, I don't really want a podcast, and I didn't for a long time.
Thanks for doing it.
No, I love you, of course, but now I'm getting more comfortable like with being seen.
Yeah.
Because you just don't. I don't know. You're too ripe. You're too vulnerable.
That's right.
You're too juicy right now. You
were just born.
Yeah, I know. Fuck. Wait, so what do I do, Duncan? What do I do with this newness?
You know what I think about? There was this Zen Roshi at this retreat I went to, Joan Halifax, and she did this whole beautiful talk on the Zen koan, which is, the insane question they ask you after you've been meditating in usually a monastic situation. You're just like, you go insane. Like if you've Jesus God, these Zen, they are wild, and you just sit and stare at a wall. And some of them, like there's a dude when you start nodding off who comes and smacks you in the shoulder with a stick, and you thank him because you don't want it brings you right back into the moment. But you've been doing this like so long, you're going a little nuts. And then the abbot, I guess, will say to you, it will bring you in for an audience with him, and then we'll ask you like an impossible question to answer. Like there's a whole list of these koans, and you'll try to be smart and answer it, or clever. Ram Dass talks about doing this, and but eventually you go so insane that when they ask you, it just pops out spontaneously. You didn't plan it. Just you vomit the answer, and it is the answer. The answers are written down for these fucking things. Like it just pops out of you.
What?
Yes, it's weird. And but she was talking not about the answer. She was talking about the feeling of not knowing.
Oh yeah.
And how you part of what humans desperately try to do is answer the question before they know that before they can. Mm-hmm. And in Cancer Club, when your phone rings, it's a different kind of ring.
I know.
What test is coming back?
Oh, fuck.
Who will call now? Because someone might be calling to tell you have a month left to live.
Oh, and you never had that phone call before.
You never had that call.
I know.
So you have to live in that unknowing state. Yeah. And you have to find a way, not just to live in there in a survival way, but to that unknowing state, as she was saying, is actually the human experience, because it doesn't matter if you think you know. It doesn't matter if you think you know what's coming next week or the week after or what your paycheck is, or, it doesn't matter, because human life is not just impermanent, but wildly impermanent. Think of Brody.
No, don't. I know.
I think of all of our friends.
I know. It is. Yes. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying. Because on the one hand, I remember when you told me, you're like, this isn't more of a mental game. This is a mental game. And you're right. Like, cancer it's physical. Obviously, you're fighting. Your immune system's battling this, whatever, surgeries and radiations and all this shit. But, I remember sitting in fucking hyperbaric chambers every day for, trying to heal, because they told me to go do that. And I was doing it 2 a day at one point, it was horrible. And you're in these chambers alone, and you need the sounds, and it's cold, and it's weird. Yeah. And you're just like, God, this is such a good metaphor for this whole journey of just being alone in this weird submarine. And how am I not going to go crazy in here? Okay, let's think about this. Shit, you like the royal family? Should we listen to a book about the royal family? Yeah, okay, let's listen to that. Okay, let's listen to this. Let's draw. Let's draw on our arms.
Yeah.
Let's draw about tattoos. Let's make a tattoo. It's back and forth with that, right? I was like, I'm really into gardening. I gotta do that. And then the realization, the big epiphany, or sometimes even forgetting you have cancer.
Oh yeah.
That's weird. Where you're like, I'm just like a person. I'm normal. And then you remember, no, I'm not. I'm not normal anymore. I'm not normal anymore.
Well,
I'm done.
Well, you know what you are. You're super normal now. You're super normal.
Hope so.
No, this is the main, what I've heard all the teachers that I love say in regards to this situation, that in Buddhism, this was he's stuck in this fucking palace. He goes on according to the myth, he's riding in his chariot.
Oh, is this Siddhartha?
Yeah, he sees an old man, a dead man, and a diseased man. So this is old age, disease, and death. These are the 3 conditions. It doesn't matter how rich you are. It doesn't matter how famous you are. It doesn't matter anything about it. You are subject to these 3 situations when you are alive. And so the reason that now you're human is because as opposed to being in the realm of the gods, the gods don't understand death. They live for millions of years. They actually are temporal trust fund kids. And so the gods, in Buddhism, the realm of the gods, you can look at it as a metaphor, you can look at it as real, whatever, but they're generally looked at as like dummies. Like, you don't want to be a god.
Dummies.
They're dumb. They're so dumb. And they and it's not their fault. They live forever. And they're like, they can just like gratify their senses all the time. And there's more gods than there are humans in this analogy. And there's more gods on this earth than there are humans, because most people are like either in the realm of the gods, just like hopping around from one thing to the next, the fool on the cliff, or they're in the hell realm, which is like they're in a desperate, constant state of need and pain. And both of these situations are not conducive to waking up. And so the general sort of like teaching that I hear over and over is take it easy, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like
That's so 70s. Take it easy, man.
No, really,
Take
like
it easy.
now is the time.
I know.
You will. We all like the best way I've heard it is this is the best thing. Oh God, it's kind of brutal though. You're standing on a floor of razor blades. It is so painful, and so the pain is so intense that you look up and you actually fantasize there's a beam there that you can pull yourself up onto the beam to get off of those razors. And these are your delusions of immortality, or the various escape hatches that you concoct to get off of those blades. And so you will burrow into this delusion or that delusion, and it doesn't really work, though,
for sure,
because you still feel it. You still feel it. It's always fucking there.
Of course. Well, for me, that's what, let's say, being a successful comedian was.
Yeah.
It's immortality in a way, right? You're special. People like you.
Oh, yeah.
It's great in a way, right?
Oh, my God. Look at what and it's your defense mechanism. You come out of surgery, you're cracking people up.
Yeah.
And everyone's like,
Works.
wow, you're doing great. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm doing fucking great. Throwing up my tail feathers because I'm fucking absolutely traumatized right now. And this is all I know how to do to gain some control.
Yeah. People would say to me, like, oh, you're so positive. And I'm like, what fucking choice do I have? Or when they say, you're so brave, I'd be so resentful because I'm like, they said they mean well, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
These are like well-meaning sayings, but it's like, bitch, I don't have a choice. I have to be brave.
Yeah.
I have to be positive.
Right.
Because this thing will fucking eat me alive. If I stop now, because you're in that fight, the survival thing, I'm going to crumble. And maybe that's, other people can cry, and like, I wasn't like that. I'm the type, like, if I'm in the fight, I'm going to fucking fight. And then when I'm safe and I'm out of that forest, I will calm down and I will cry. And that now I'm there where I'm like,
Yeah.
that was a trip, man. I don't know what the fuck just happened to me. That was a nightmare. What just happened? Okay. Well, I literally just go through the story and then like figure it out, piece it out. Okay. But I don't have this idea of a distant future anymore, which is so weird.
Gone, baby.
Yeah.
Gone.
So weird.
Infuriating for my wife, by the way, because like she loves planning, and I'm just like, oh, okay. But
there is no distant future.
Because there isn't a future for any of us, because there is no future.
I know.
And like, that's a fantasy, and that's one of the beams that people like to climb into to get off those razors, is like a lot of intense planning and a lot of intense, which is, and by the way, all you can still do these things in Cancer Club. It's just a little different than the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Because you don't quite believe that next year you are going to be performing at
it's
Zanies.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's
a tentative
It'd be
thing.
great.
Yeah.
And that sounds dismal. But this is the I think this is why you and I think, or one of the reasons we're friends, is we love existentialism.
Yeah.
I love Camus.
Yeah.
And I love the Thank you, Soul, for supporting this episode of the DTFH. If you live in a place where, for some draconian hell reason, cannabis isn't available, but you've seen what seems to be like THC gummies or whatever, then you've probably thought to yourself, there's no way that's real. That can't be real. How could it be legal? The answer, it is. It's totally real. It's totally legal. If you live in Texas like I do, you don't live in Los Angeles anymore where you could stroll down the street to a weed store where marijuana gnomes with magnifying glasses will show you buds that look like they were taken out of Mordor, then my God, you should look into Soul gummies. They're legal anywhere in the U.S. and wow, they're wonderful. Last night, I was having some trouble sleeping, woke up in the middle of the night, opened a drawer. There was my Soul gummies, slurped one of those babies down, and I fell asleep like an angel post-apocalypse upon the return of the Messiah. Gentle, dreamy, soft, wonderful, relaxing sleep. They've got everything you need. You want to get microdose gummies? They've got those. You want to go for it. You can go for it with Soul. Also, they are delicious. They get the Trussell seal of weed approval. They're wonderful. This holiday season, give the gift of Soul. Head to getsoul.com and use code Duncan for 30% off your order. That's 30% off your order using code Duncan. One last time, getsoul.com and code Duncan for 30% off. If you love someone, don't get them socks. Get them incredible, delicious weed gummies that will help expand their consciousness, tune in with the guy in mind, and also sleep like a little angelic baby. Thank you, Soul. I love Viktor Frankl.
Yeah. Okay.
And I love the other thing that happens is like as you're walking to get executed, as you're in the concentration camps being marched on a death march, you remember someone you love.
Right.
And all you feel is love.
Mm-hmm.
There is no death march. There is no somehow this transcendent reality in the midst of the Truman Show shit emerges that is not subject to any of the bullshit. And that I think you have no choice but to begin to, as much as you can, align with that. I certainly don't do it all the fucking time.
No.
Because it hurts.
Yeah. Well, yes, it does hurt. But that place of love you're talking about, that it's a weird transcendent place, right? And not romantic love, just love. And it's weird because I held a lot of anger towards mommy and daddy. There was a lot of anger about situations in my past, and it just washed away. It's fucking crazy how, like this, so many resentments towards family dramas or whatever, it doesn't matter anymore. It's gone.
Good sign.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I want to call them and kick it, but it does mean like it doesn't register. It doesn't ping me.
Yeah.
In the same way.
Yeah.
I have more compassion for them, more compassion for the past. And now I just have to have more like sensitivity and compassion for myself, I think, in the next couple, however many years it's going to take to become the next iteration of whoever I am. That's going to be a whole fucking, I don't know, dude. I don't know who I am. I'm totally, I mean, that's a great philosophical problem, right? I had a philosophy teacher say like, hey, every 7 years, all your cells completely change. So then does that mean you're the same person you were 7 years ago? Like, that philosophy 101 question.
Yeah.
And it is true. Well, what am I now? I'm stripped down.
Yeah, what are you?
The fuck am I?
What are you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a meat vessel. I'm a meat vessel that had a real problem. They corrected the problem. The meat's cool now.
Yeah.
The vessel's fucked. The brain is, I don't know. I don't know how to reconcile that.
Did you ever get into Schopenhauer?
Schopenhauer, Wagner, Schopenhauer, Nietzsche, these guys.
Well, Schopenhauer.
I couldn't understand them. I think I tried. I didn't.
Now you will.
Okay.
revisit.
Okay.
I'll send you the one
Send
I'm
me the
listening
one.
to. But I mean, he's essentially just taking like Eastern philosophy and reframing it, you know, in a definitely like hard to digest way. But you know, he's sort of pointing out this this thing you're talking about. This, what the fuck am I? Which you will like on if you've taken enough LSD, you will be like, what the fuck am I? And you know, but that and it's subject object is his point.
Right,
It's like,
right, yep.
So you know,
Yep.
you're aware of your thoughts, you're aware of the meat vessel, you're aware, but via that awareness, there is these sort of everything becomes an object of awareness, and that awareness, that's what you are. But the problem with the awareness, or you're the convergence of the subject and the object, and this sort of bizarre thing that appears via that convergence that you call an identity or something like that. And that is emptiness in Buddhism, and that is really a perplexing thing because you know, when you are stripped, when everything's stripped down and you do recognize, you know, like what is it? Our Lord Jesus Christ says, don't store up your treasures on earth where the moths and, what does he say? Rust doth corrupt. Store them in heaven. And you realize, oh my God.
Yeah.
That moment, you realize all this shit, it's going to end up in a Goodwill.
Oh, dude. Let me tell you. My mother, she passed in 2015. She would buy silk couches, okay? White silk couches. And we had a whole living room full of things that nobody sits on. Just white silk couches. Don't sit on my white silk couch. I heard that 1,000 times, right? Well, what do you think I fucking inherited when she dropped dead?
White
silk couches. And guess what I did? Gave them right to fucking Goodwill.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with white silk couches? I have no use for all this shit that I was told to stay off of. And can you imagine devoting a whole room to your beautiful house, a room in which nobody can sit?
Can't even sit.
And I remember philosophically as a teenager being like, this is absurdity. This is the very definition of absurdity.
Yeah.
Why would you have a room that nobody uses?
Crazy.
Shit you don't even use?
Yeah.
This makes me crazy.
Yeah.
But to your point, so consciousness, you're saying awareness is it. That's the I am. That's the thing.
Well, it's something about that heartbreak comes from not just consciousness. It comes from consciousness connecting with the impermanence of the world. And then something appears in this like unbearable, like love situation.
Attachment to it. They say attachment, right?
Yeah, attachment, because you get attached to the physical form, and it makes sense because the physical form, you associate that with the love. It's like, you know, this is like what anyone who's making any kind of addictive anything they want to sell, you know, my God, like the classic example being vapes. Jesus, take nicotine, sugar, and put it in a fucking little Star Trek thing that glows. Yeah. You just look at the thing and you think your body wants it, and you've been fooled. And similarly, like, you know, love, you start thinking, oh, love is like inside a person, right? It's in the person. If I die, then whatever I had to offer is gone. But really, what do you have to offer in a maelstrom of change? Like you're in a fucking centrifuge of atoms. What really you have to offer here, other than love?
That's so true.
And that's all you got.
I'm a good cook. I cook.
You know what?
Yeah.
But the Hare Krishna say, don't eat out, because if your chef is like having a bad day, let's say your chef is like Jeffrey Dahmer, he hasn't been caught yet.
Yeah.
All their energy goes into the food.
I believe in that.
So your love gets in the food. Though you are a conduit of love.
Love.
Sounds like a bunch of hokey fucking bullshit. No. And honestly, I cannot really, I don't know at all what to do anymore. And the thing with grief is, you think you're out of the jungle, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're hit with it. You're right back there in the doctor's office. You're right there when the phone rings and you get the diagnosis. You're right there again. And so the idea that you will, I mean, they say written on the gates of hell, abandon all hope you enter here.
Right.
And everyone thinks that's a really grim thing. But sometimes I wonder if that's like a compassionate instruction. You know, like Meister Eckhart says, the
little hobbit guy.
The part of your soul that burns in hell is the part that clings to life.
Oh, oh man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yes, I do.
We gotta.
I do. But that's why I have a goth room in my house, because I think that there's something to the acknowledgement, the constant acknowledgement of that side of the force.
That's
it's just
right.
there. It's just there. What are you
Shiva.
gonna fucking do? Yeah.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are you gonna fucking, and how much shit are you gonna buy? And I was very guilty of that during my treatment. I just bought stuff, but like, how famous are you gonna be? How much money are you gonna have? How much shit are you gonna collect before you realize that this is none of this shit really is the important. It's fun. It's cool. It's not the big cheese.
No one's really like the reality. Like, you know, Erin loves you.
I love her
so much.
I love her so much.
And I can't even
love her
imagine
so much.
how many people like
She's the best.
have good days just because they're your friend. And really, I mean, if you're looking for some kind of actionable thing to do in this like grief state, you don't really need to do anything. I know it's frustrating other than just keep
being
being you.
Being it.
And trust, because, you know, last thing I have to say about this, and because there isn't anything. There isn't a fucking TikTok. Here's what you do when you realize you're going to lose everything eventually. Listen to 350 megahertz frequencies with a crystal bowl. But
I need to do those TikToks, Duncan.
when my mom died, this Zen Roshi at Ram Dass's house said, you know, people have all kinds of shit they say to you, and you're just, whatever, shut the fuck up.
I know, it's the worst. Don't say anything
this
to anybody.
Fucking Zen Roshi, the real deal, shaped head, fucking like walks around with this bizarre like strength that's terrifying and beautiful. And I remember she said, a window is open for you, and it's going to close. It will eventually close. So while that window is open,
Yeah.
be in the moment as much as you can, because you won't get to experience this, you know, the thing they're calling grief forever.
Yeah.
It'll go away. And, you know, you think you won't be back in the...
Yeah, there's always something to bum you out. You'll be dropped in.
You'll be back in the...
Yeah.
You'll be back in the matrix again.
Of course.
But you're out right now. And so, God, as much as you can bear it, and it seems like you are doing that. Open yourself up to it fully.
You surrender to the, like on Tuesday I woke up and I was like, fuck, dude, I am in a dark hole. I'm just there. What am I going to do? And I was like, all right, Pazsitzky, you're going to fucking, what are you going to do? Are you going to force it away? Are we going to pretend like you're normal? Are we going to try to exercise? Are you going to try to fight it? Are you just going to you just put on the cure and fucking cry a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah. So I actually was able to, and I was like, all right, cool. All right, this is today. This is what today looks like for me. Cool. And I have to say, like, I'm so lucky that I can just have this time to be.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that I was in treatment with were like, oh, I got to go teach a class now, or I got to go to work now. And I'm like, dude, I don't know how you guys are. How?
Yeah.
How do you fucking do it?
That's right.
And then I knew this woman who was like, yeah, my insurance wouldn't cover getting the full double mastectomy, so I only cut one breast off. And I'm like, what?
Jeez.
And then you realize how lucky you are in that scale of the equation. And yeah, but I think what you're talking about, what matters, I read Martin Buber in college. He's like I think a Christian existentialist. I want to remember. But he talked about, you know, your subject-object relationship. But then the way out of that, of just being like separate, weird, is the I-thou. The I-thou.
Well, how does that work?
It's so great. So, you know that great moment I was telling you about where I'm petting my cat and
Yeah.
he's sitting on my chest? And he uses a horse. He says, you know, you're petting your horse and you look into the horse's eye and there's a connection and there's a moment between you and this horse. That's the I-thou. The I-thou. It's it's deeper than I-it or subject-object. thou. Yeah. And I think that's what I right now, really cherish is I, thou. Those moments of deep connection, whether it just be to like my hamster that I hate most of the fucking time, or right, the kid's doing something that's making you crazy, but you're like, whatever, he's gonna grow out of that shit in a year. He's making a mess. They're taking a bath. They're gonna fuck it, and it's like, that's the moment. That's cute. What am I gonna do? I'm in that cool place now where I hear people talking about stupid shit that they think is important, and part of me gets mad at them because I'm like, why are you fucking stop? Who cares?
Yeah.
That's not, and then, but then I'll obviously a week from now be joining in because I'll get out of the state of like deep whatever, and I'll be just as trivial,
Yeah.
But for now I'm annoyed, and I'm, like, look at me, oh, fucking idiots, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even know what's real.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's that. And that, I'm so glad you're not trying to get out of it like the way, like, everybody, oh my God. Like I wish that I had more parents, because like I need to practice for dying parents. Like 2 is not enough to figure out how to deal with it.
You have more parents, more to watch them die and ruin your year.
I think by like my 3rd mother, I could have done a better job.
God.
But the
that's the worst. Death is
the evasion of it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Like that's
part of the
all
fun.
I wanted to do.
That's the game.
And you know what? Because I evaded that, and because I desperately tried to get away from, and still do, get away from this feeling that is so like that I feel like I'm unfairly like I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite, because I try to escape that feeling so much. But the more you do that, you can look forward to unexpected bursts of rage.
Yeah, this is like that cool shame camp you were talking about where you came on your mom's house. You were telling us, they scream crying and beating it out of you. That's the way to go.
You're going to end up at a fucking men's grief camp in a hot tub with bros weeping if you can't do it. But the other thing is like nothing to fix. Just kick that idea.
Nothing to fix. Yeah, it's the fixing. And I think for so many years when I have a bad feeling, it's like, well, how do I get rid of this? I don't want this. And I think too, like if you look for help online or whatever, the first thing they're like, go out and exercise, get on Lexapro. And you're like, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're supposed to just run out of this.
Run an ultra marathon. Run into your fucking your shin bones jut from your
get
leg.
A hobby. Yeah.
Get a hobby. That's good. Get into like painting role playing figures.
Right, or get into alcoholism or get into drugs. I mean, like now I know more than ever why people turn to drugs and sex and gambling and all these addictions. You're like, that 100%, dude. Yeah, it's awful because then you're stuck in that trap.
Yeah.
It's just a trap.
And it doesn't work. Oh, my God.
It doesn't work.
If only booze actually worked. Like,
oh my
that's
God.
the path to enlightenment.
Oh my
Just
God.
get hammered and fuck.
It's the best.
Get
hammered and fuck.
Come on.
That's the cap.
What meeting with God? Someone was like, dude, just let them hammer and fuck, and like everything gets better. And some dick was like, no, it's fully surrendering to the love.
It's feeling your feelings and grieve. Yeah. Can I tell you what I did that was really weird to me?
Let me check and make sure. I know you have an appointment. It's 12:22. I just want to make sure I'm not keeping you too long.
We're good.
Okay, great.
Let me just check on my kids. Okay. Yeah, the weird thing I did, I don't know if you did this too. When I first got diagnosed with cancer, I did the exact opposite of what you probably should do, which is I ate a bunch of processed meats and drank a ton of alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
And I was very surprised by the reaction, because when I've heard other people getting diagnosed with something, I'd be like, well, they're probably like taking really good care of themselves right now. Total opposite.
Denial ain't just a river in Egypt, man.
Is that what that was? Yeah, it must have been coping.
Oh, dude, like there's stories of like people chain smoking outside of radiation.
I've seen them smoke on the way in.
Yeah, they're going to get radiation. They're fucking smoking cigarettes.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
I love that Doug stand-up joke. You heard his joke, like, some things are better than life. You know, like, maybe that's it. Just subscribing to self-destruction is, in fact, a righteous move compared to life itself. You know,
I don't know.
It seems to me that, you know, you look at the Bible or you look at anyone in a lot of world mythologies, like, the last thing you want is to, like, get called by God. Like, God fucks people up.
He tells you, like, hey, why don't you kill your son?
Ye-
So what a dick move. I never liked that story.
The binding of Isaac.
Yeah. Was
Yeah.
that what it was? He's like, kill your son if you really are into me.
Isaac and Jacob take him up to the altar of Mount Moriah and, like, fucking kill his ass to show me that you love me.
What is the point of that? Like, on a loyalty to the father or loyalty?
Hold on. Jordan Peterson hangs out back. Dr. Peterson, can you help us here? I mean, I think it's sort of like
God.
you.
What is the point?
I mean, sadly, I feel like that is caused a lot of postpartum mommies to make some mistakes. But you know, like but I think you're kind of looking at like a weird sort of precursor to. It's almost like God was beta testing what he was going to do to Jesus.
Beta test.
You know,
He's like, hold on. They like the sacrifice shit.
Should I
Seems to get
sacrifice?
good ratings. Yeah.
Jesus is like sitting playing in the playroom and he's like looking at him like, wait a minute. What is it I'm not thinking of that I could do with you? But you know, I do think it's a very Old Testament. It's a very Old Testament like way of talking about something. I think it's described in a little less violent ways, like in Bhakti Yoga, which is the way it's put in Bhakti Yoga. You're sitting in the story is God, what are they called? The gopis. They're cowherd girls. They're sitting in their huts and they hear Krishna's flute playing in the forest under the full moon. And they leave their lives behind. They leave the candles burning to follow the flute. They forget about everything to go and find God. And then when they get there, they all, I think as the story goes, like there's 108 of them and they all have sex with God. Like God, Krishna becomes like all of their perfect lovers. And
cool.
It's really cool. And I think that's kind of maybe that's because the Old Testament, what's better than your son? Your firstborn. It's like the ultimate thing. And this is sort of saying, yes, but you have to give up everything for the transcendent. I don't think it literally means fucking kill your kid or there's so many great critiques of the story.
Yes.
But, you know, yeah, so that.
People dancing upstairs.
Yeah, it's.
Actually, sorry, I do have to go like 10 minutes. Is
it's
that
an
okay?
ecstatic dance class upstairs.
I
I love ecstatic dancing.
See, and I hate all that stuff. Like I was doing sound bowls. Like I would go to like a sound bowl class, sound bowl sesh. And then the lady made us share afterwards. And I was like, I don't want to share.
No.
I don't want to talk to you. I just want to like trip out, you know?
Can
I
we
don't
please?
I don't like any of that shit.
Maybe this is what we do. Here's how you combat your grief. Let's start a business, psychedelic bullshit for neurotics.
Ooh.
Come and do ayahuasca. Everyone shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to hear about whatever you saw. We're all going to be quiet and cool.
Yeah.
Have some like booze after. No one has to fucking do any hugging things or, you know, sound bowls minus the sharing.
Yeah, I don't want to share. It's a lonesome journey. You should be more of a lonesome warrior. Lonesome.
Oh my God.
It is. It's independent. There's like nothing you can.
These are good signs. I remember when I was just starting meditating, I had this crazy experience. I'm sitting meditating. Nothing had been happening. I wasn't on anything. Nothing. I hate meditating to this day. And I'm sitting there meditating. And I felt as lonely and heartbroken as I'd ever felt in my life out of nowhere. And I called David, who teaches me how to do this stuff. And he goes, that's the practice radiates out from that place. That is it. You have tuned in. That is the situation. Lonely.
Yeah.
It's often described as lonely. And like who can share this heartbreak with you?
No, but and the irony is that my relationship with like my husband got better because I'm more centered in a way. I'm not like leaking energy. Does that make sense? Where you're like in the game with the other person as much.
That's right.
It's like it's an internal game more for me right now. I'm really much more introspective and slower. Well, it's probably just because I have a lot more time to sit around.
It's too personal question, but wow, man, that's a lot for your family too, huh?
I can't imagine. I don't know what Tom is. I don't know. You have to have him on and do his side of this because I can't imagine what it's like for family to go through watching someone deal with cancer. It's horrible.
Well, it's not as bad as having cancer.
That's true. That's kind of not pussies.
But it sucks all the way. But look, I there is absolutely no way to wrap this up in any kind of like pithy way. Other than to say, I love you.
Oh, I love you.
And I'm so glad that you've gotten through the major healing part of this thing. Yeah. And Aaron and I were ride or die. We're always, whatever that means or looks like.
I love you so much. You guys are my absolute favorite people.
Likewise.
Love you.
We love you. And I'm just so.
Can I share one moment?
Yeah.
Can I share one funny moment of you? The Trestles are at my house. This is in the summer before the shit hit the fan. And I had constructed a white trash water slide for my kids.
Oh, yeah.
I saw on TikTok.
It's so cool.
I just took tarps and put them down the hill. But
incredible.
Long, 150 feet long. And then we were watching the kids do it, watching the kids do it. And then you, Mr. Duncan, are like, let's go do it. And I was like, no way, no. I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to break something. And then the next thing you know, the three of us, Aaron, you and me, are just down this water slide. And I haven't felt that glee in so long. And I'm so grateful that you were like, let's fucking do it, man. And I'm like, yeah, who cares if my tits pop out? Who cares? That was a good moment.
Oh my God, thank you. Yeah.
It's the best moment.
How do you spend all that time? Setting up fucking tarps. It's a dream. I've seen those TikToks and suddenly there it is.
So easy. Amazon, babe.
Because you could snap. I mean, at our age, it was like, honestly, I wasn't thinking this old ass, I could easily have just been paralyzed. Like I could have easily, we could be doing this in my fucking wheelchair, in some fancy, I am so glad you're okay.
Oh, and we put baby oil down it. Don't forget.
Dude,
so
it was
extra slick.
Lightning fast.
Yeah, it's the best, dude.
We're going to do more of those, I hope.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Thank you so much.
Love you.
Love you. Bye. That was Christina P, everybody. Watch her on YMH. Follow her Instagram. My God. Her Instagram is the most incredible, hand-picked assemblage of the weirdest people posting online. It's a must follow. Thank you for watching. Thank you to our sponsors. And I'll see you next week. Until then, be thankful for all that we truly have. Goodbye.